I am Luke. Welcome back to Leicester City Down Under. Thanks for joining me again, Chris. How are you?
I'm all right, Luke. How are you?
Mate, literally as I was doing that intro, a massive thunder strike just went nearby. I wish I just didn't play it at all. It was intense.
We've got sun here. We're going to have sun for 2 days, and I think that's going to be our summer.
That's it.
I'm hoping for better when I come down to your part of the world in September. You've promised me sunshine. I expect sun. I will sue you, like that man that sued his boss. I will sue you if there's no sunshine when I come down there.
No sunshine and plenty of farts, mate. You're in for it, and no whales.
We'll have a fart battle, I tell you. Morning, everybody.
Morning, everybody. Look, mate. I'm starting to feel bipolar supporting this team. I don't want to. Let's talk about it briefly. I need to vent a little bit. This game against Millwall, we're fighting these clubs that are fighting to not get relegated, and there's something to be said for that. And I said that a while ago, but this bus parking in front of us, I know that we still have to get there first, but hypothetically, this is what I wanted to ask you the other day. If we were to go up to the Premier League, a lot of people are saying, we're going to get smashed to pieces. We're struggling to score. That could be right. But I don't anticipate, should we go up, nowhere near as many clubs to park a bus in front of us. And this is going to sound big-headed, but I don't mean it to be. But when people were calling us the Man City of the division earlier on, when we first started, and we're having these strong results and the money that we spent in the championship compared to everyone else, if you remember and you cast your mind back to the last time we played Man City, we played a back five in the Premier League. Do you remember? It was one of the rare games where Sionsu got to run out and got to play. People go into those games expecting to concede and to park a bus, and we're seeing similar things happen with us. I know we're going to think and worry about it as it is right now, but I'm very curious to see how we would go against these other clubs, people that aren't going to park it and they're going to have a proper go at us. But do you expect Plymouth to do the same thing? Because it is getting frustrating.
Yes, I do. I spoke to a Plymouth fan yesterday on my preview, and he was basically saying that, look, there's no easy. I mean, I know it's a cliche, and I've pinched Craig's cliche hat here, but there's no easy games in the build-up. You could argue that Bristol City should have been our easiest game because they're in mid-table, nothing to play for. That said, since they beat us, I don't think they've lost. So, beating us wasn't maybe the surprise that we expected it to be. But again, they've got mid-table security. They're not going to go down. And they're not really, even with this run they suddenly started, they're not going to get into the playoffs. And there's something about being relaxed. No pressure. They're not looking over their shoulders in case they get dragged into a relegation fight. There's no way they're going down. There's no way they're going up. So they can just get out and play. And it's like, and I've seen this happen at Leicester and I've seen this happen at clubs. When a club actually knows it's relegated, that is a huge, huge burden off the shoulders. So they start playing a bit more relaxed. So you've gone from having a team that is desperate for the points to a team that, well, look, we'll play however we play. The pressure's on you because you want to get promoted. So that's why there's no easy games. So, yeah, I mean, Plymouth at the moment, they're down there. I mean, there's about 7 or 8 clubs that could still get dragged down to go down with Rotherham. Plymouth are one of them. They really should be absolutely so grateful for the start to the season that they had. I thought they'd be sort of down there with Rotherham all season, but they are now. They have come back down, so they're going to be fighting for it. And how do you, when I was watching that Millwall game, they had 9 defenders plus the goalkeeper for one of our attacks. How can you break that down?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's like it's frustrating, and like people saying it's a bad performance, and look, it was a worldie they scored. Credit to Millwall, but at the same time, it's like I don't feel like it was frustrating. Don't get me wrong, it annoyed me. Like if I was saying and joking, like if I had a thumbnail for that post match for my video, it would be I should have stayed in bed because I got up at 2:45 to watch that, which was fucking enraging. So yeah, it was dirty. But at the same time, like you can't.
Now, they say you're talking to a 63-year-old Foxes fan that's been supporting the Foxes for 50 odd years. We've been there, seen it, got the welcome to our world, mate.
I know, mate, but at least you have the luxury of watching at a reasonable time. Like, I'll share on screen later so everyone can see the times that I get up live to watch this. Like, committed to the fucking core. Like, I did it to the relegation season. I'll
Yeah.
always do it. But yeah, mate, no, I can appreciate what you're saying. But it was frustrating. But like you said, there were so many people in the box defending. It's hard to break down. The problem is a lot of our balls, like we want to just basically walk through the back of the net. It's starting to get frustrating. But hey, I still think we dominated the ball, but again, how many times are we going to turn around and say it's good to have all this possession, but you've got to put the ball in the back of the net, Chris?
You have, but like I say, when they're defending in those numbers, and as Mark's just said, it is frustrating, but we would do this if we were in their position, we would be doing the same because you do whatever you can. They would, the Plymouth fans said if they get a point off us tonight, they would be out celebrating like they'd won the league. And Scott, and they would be absolutely, over the moon. That's what you're up against. Do you know what I mean? And so teams will do anything in that position. A point would be so good for them. And if that means putting 10 players behind the ball, that is what they will do. And I know they're always saying, "Oh, we've got to learn to play around it or through it or whatever." It's easier said than done. How do you get past? I could say Millwall, 9 players and the goalkeeper. How do you get through that? It's not easy.
No, it's the only option I can really see is start putting balls outside the box. But then again, that's me basically saying you're depending on a worldie to go through and up and over and beat a keeper. So that's a lot easier said than done.
Well, it is. Teams have been doing that to us for the past few games. We can't get, well, we lost, but we lost to a worldie. Yeah, we did, but we've got to stop that happening. But that's because we play a high line, I think.
Nowhere near as a high line as we played against under Rodgers. That was stressful. Hello, Scott, and hello, Tom. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Mark, Leeds fan, more than welcome here, mate. Both of us have the talent in our teams to undo them, but we don't seem to be coached to get past this. I'd be very curious to what you think, Mark, because I think you guys press teams a lot more aggressively than we do, and you have the speed and the likes of Somerville. You guys have some real talent on your side as well. So I think we've got different styles of football, but ours is a lot more frustrating to watch, I'd imagine, than Leeds. When we do well and then Leeds do well, you could argue that Leeds football is more exciting, and that's coming from a Leicester City supporter.
Well, it's nice to see a nice Leeds fan, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. They do exist. They're not all six-fingered. But look, you know what? Maybe we just go to Plymouth and just fuck them. Let's just park the bus against Plymouth. Just kidding.
Look, and again, here we come out with another cliche. It's 5 cup finals we've got left now. I do wonder if somebody up there actually is smiling down on us. I mean, we lost. Who would have thought the top 3 teams in the division would have all played a game and not one of them scored?
I think we're all feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, they are the 3 highest goal scorers in the league, and not Leeds, Ipswich, ourselves. And Ipswich and Leeds fans, and Mark must be feeling this. He must be absolutely cursing that, because obviously if they'd have won, they'd have gone over us and they'd be sat in top. And you have to take your chances when other teams, I can't believe I'm sat here looking at the table, knowing how badly we've played and we lost to Millwall, and yet we're still sat top of the table. It's so weird,
It is weird. Both us, even Ipswich to a degree, but both, Mark or any Leeds fan and ourselves are both feeling like we've dropped 6 pointers looking at these results come in. All of us would be feeling the same way. And I think all these teams are starting to get gassed and leggy. I think it's just that end of the season, mate, where I think everyone's just starting to get it, just want it to be over.
We're playing tournament football at the moment, weekend, midweek. I mean, played on Tuesday and we're playing again on Friday. That's 3 days. Tournament football, World Cup, European Cups. It's 4 days.
I know, it's relentless.
it's not. And then, as the Plymouth guy said, at least if it's tournament football, you're probably in the sun somewhere, relaxing. So it's just I mean, I know Enzo touched on this. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know, like, you can say, well, they should be fit. They're on so much money, but I've got to be honest with you, I wouldn't like to run around for 90 minutes. I couldn't like to run around for 90 seconds, to be honest with you, and then only have a 3-day break before being expected to do it again.
And think about how we play as well, like how much we do on and off the ball as well. It's relentless, the style of football we play. Just seeing a good comment here, mate. Tom, I feel this style of football, once you get to the top level, then you need 11 world-class players. Tom, that's a very good comment, but there's also something else I'd like to add to that, and that's confidence. We have a lot of quality for this division. Maybe not the Premier League, but for this division, yes, on paper. And I think that when we're not feeling confident, which we have seen in bits and pieces of the last 4 to 5 weeks, it can be absolutely, woeful to watch. Chris, what would you say to that? Because Man City definitely does have that quality. Arsenal, they have it now as well, but they've slowly built up to it for the last 2 to 3 seasons. So, and you're starting to see it now, but.
And we had it for a couple of seasons, when we were finishing fifth and what have you, and we were in the top 4 for 38 of the 36 of the 38 weeks. So, but look, let's get there first of all.
Yeah.
And when we get there, if we get there, let's be honest with you. From a neutral's point of view, look at the Premier League. This is what it's all about, because there's fights at the top and fights at the bottom. 88 and 87 points, Leeds, Ipswich and Leicester. Normally that would have been guaranteed you got promotion by now. And we're still sat here battling it. But if we do go up, I say it's a big if, it's going to be a different team. We're going to hopefully, if we're allowed to spend money, bring players in. We're going to be selling players. So, you need, look at Burnley. You've got to have one type of football to get you promoted. And then it's going to have to be a different tweak, whether it's just tweaking it, but it's got to be different once you're up.
That's right. And this is a big, stark thing to think about for both us and Leeds fans. If we were to go up, is Enzo and Farker the man, the ones to take us forward? Because like you just said, and you've mentioned before as well, Chris, of Burnley, it's not going so well for them when they went up. So anyways, let's worry about that. Let's get there first.
All I would say, in fairness to Leeds, and they've got a manager that used to getting teams out of this division. They've got a manager that's got that Premier League experience. Our manager, let's be honest with you, this is his first proper job. And Kieran's not been up, McKenna's not been up there. So it's going to be interesting. I'm gonna do my watch along, sat on the toilet, just cut out the middleman, I think.
You and me both, mate. Look, I'm just having a quick look here. Plymouth's form. Okay, they drew with QPR at home, lost to Rotherham away, lost to Bristol at home, lost to Norwich away, and then they lost to Preston as well. So pretty shaky form as well. So you would hope that we'd go to Plymouth and turn them over, but we thought that about Bristol, and we thought that about many other sides.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. If anybody, and I didn't check it actually to see if it had gone up or not, but if you check the BBC website, the Leicester City page, I quoted Brian Clough that football, on paper, we should beat these teams. Unfortunately, football's not played on paper; it's played on grass. So that, as Tom says, that there aren't no easy games. Look at where Plymouth are. Plymouth are they going to roll over and let us beat them? No. The only good thing is if we can get an early goal, then they're going to have to come at us because they've got to get something, and obviously that will just play into our hands. But we will, we'll wait and see. We can't. I mean, this is their 4th or 5th set of managers they've had this season. They had Schumacher, he left. They had the director of football and first team coach in charge. Then they got this Ian guy that's come in and pissed everybody off and called the team rubbish and where they should and all this. So he went on Easter Monday. And now they've got the two caretakers back in again. So they're in a bit of a mess off the pitch as well.
Yeah, I know. So you would think that that would play into our hands, but as Tom said, there is no easy games. I feel like every one of these games is a cup final. We all know it. We're all feeling it, and every single club, every team that we're playing for the run out, I'm going to pull it up in a second, actually, is either in contention already in the playoffs or fighting a relegation. So I don't think anyone has an easy
run. When you
out.
look at it, Sheffield Wednesday are third from bottom with 43 points. QPR all the way up to 16th. In fact, QPR probably all the way up to 16th on 47. They are still in a relegation battle. They've done well to get out from where they were, but they're still in that battle. So that's almost half the table is fighting relegation. It's unbelievable. And as Mark said there, Plymouth. I mean, I watched the Plymouth Leeds Cup final that was on telly, a wet night down at Plymouth, and might have been a replay, I think. And it was a damn good game. My hope there, and what I noticed against Leeds was they tired. Leeds were the better team, deserved to go through. But Leeds kept at them. They looked better. And I think, as I say, Plymouth, that was where the sort of the squad size and the experience of the players comes in. And I think Plymouth did tire. Well, they certainly tired because it ended up 4-1 to Leeds in extra time.
Yeah, they did. So going by what you're saying, Chris, look at this. Look how congested that is at the bottom there, mate.
Yeah. Yes.
Between QPR and 16th, there's only 4 points to Sheffield Wednesday. Excuse me, mate. I've just got an Uber Eats out the front. Totally professional here. All these teams are fighting and have something to fight for. And then if you look at our run out as well, let's pull this up here. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, mate. Just bear with me. I've just got to talk us through this run out here, Chris, while I just quickly sort this out.
Yeah. Look, we've got Plymouth, as we know, tonight. We've got West Brom. Now, West Brom are in the playoffs. They've pretty much been in fifth. I was looking at this last night. They've been in fifth almost as many weeks as we were in first. So, they've been there. They're up there. They're safe. They're not going to get into the top two, but they're going to be in the playoff position. Does that mean they'll take the foot off the gas? Possibly not. And then after that, after West Brom, and I think that's our toughest game, to be honest with you. We've then got, obviously, Southampton in the game that got cancelled because of us being in the FA Cup. So they're going to have a big say in it because I think they've got Leeds on the last day, and they've obviously just played Ipswich. Preston, they're back up there. They're in 8th as well. And Blackburn, look, I don't know. I mean, Blackburn, they won one recently 5-1. They lost one 5-0. It's. I mean, if I had money to put a bet on it, I wouldn't, because I don't think you can put a bet on anything to do with Leicester City this season. We should have had this dead and buried by now. We should have. No disrespect, but on the form we were doing, we should have been out of sight. But as I always said, there was a blip on its way. We hadn't had a blip. It had to come. This is our blip. It couldn't have come at the worst possible time, but it's come. But look, when you brought the league table up there, we're still top. We've still got one game in hand. It is in our hands. We're not having to rely on anybody else at the moment. Like last season, we had to rely on Bournemouth beating Everton if we wanted to stay up. At the moment, it's in our hands. I hope it stays that way. But then again, so will Ipswich and Leeds.
100%, mate. It's in all of our hands, and it is. Sorry about that before, mate. I just had to sort something out for Uber Eats. To give the code to my missus so she could collect it from at the front. Listen, I'm still pretty stressed about this game. I'm sure pretty much everyone in that top 4, top 3 is going to be feeling squeaky bum time. Just going to quickly get through these comments here, mate, and then I'm going to pull up the starting 11 that I would like to see, and then we can talk through it. Please be aware I am a Leeds fan through and through, but I also lived in Leicester for 20 plus years. I was even an apprentice at a Leicester City Football Club with Jimmy Bloomfield and Jock Wallace. Mate,
you're old then. That's what you're saying, Mark. You're old. Because I remember those. How the hell did you understand Jock Wallace?
It's not too late, mate. You can jump ship. He won't judge you for it. We're all football fans, Mark. We forgive you. Scott, as always, mate, you are a super fan of all content creators, Leicester City. I really appreciate it, mate. Always giving big ups to everyone. You're a top bloke. I suspected Leicester City Football Club would falter after the very late win at QPR. Mate, that was for me, actually, that was for me the first kind of start of maybe you could have got a blip. And I think we struggled against Sunderland after that game as well, if you remember. But here we go, Chris. I'm going to pull up my starting 11. I would like to see, personally, and I'm going to talk through it. We all can pretty much script now,
Can
starting
I
11
just
from
say,
Enzo.
before we do this, and before you pull it up and hopefully not, but make yourself look an idiot, have you put a goalkeeper in this week?
Oh, mate, I have.
You have. Good.
Here we go.
Wonders what I'm on about. He does have a habit. Is that he gets that cocky, Luke, that he thinks he can play without a goalkeeper.
I was trying to put Brad in. Okay. This is what I would like to see, but I've almost wanted to change my mind 3 times since I've done it. Madsen obviously in goal. Now, FaZe has been a bit of a liability for me at the moment. I think I would love to see Cody start. I think Cody looks better controlling that back 3. He's very vocal. But in the middle, Vestergaard is always going to have that spot locked down. Although I think Cody would be better there, I still think Vestergaard offers more with his passing. Callum Doyle, I'm in 2 minds, but when teams are going to park it, I still think Callum Doyle opens up the play a lot more with his versatility of his left foot, with his passing. If it was a team like, let's say, Leeds or anything like that, I would prefer to have JJ. Now, Ricardo Pereira, you could say play the back 4. I disagree. I think this is much more what we look like on the field, but I'm an Australian. Who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. Ricardo Pereira.
That's the most truthful thing you've said since I've met you.
Yeah, everyone knows I'm not a liar. Harry Winks. He's looking to me, Harry Winks. I think he was held back by that yellow card in that last game, and I think that kind of hindered his game a little bit. It was a stupid booking, but whatever. We're not going to get done any favors by the EFL at this point. It's a complete witch hunt for us. Eunice Atkin, this is what I want to talk to you about. I thought he had for the time he was on, I thought he was great. I thought he opened up the play a lot. He's a lot more experienced and picks his passes out, in my opinion, a lot better than Eunice. Is he at the same pace as Eunice? No. He's not as physical, and he could struggle with the physicality, but he's not playing in that high-pressing 8 position as we saw, and I thought he looked a lot better now. So I would like to actually see him get a start, but as you were saying of like how fast his game's and it's tournament football at this point, I do want to see a lot more rotations, although that does sound a bit scary because we're so worried about, getting these results and these points, but at the same time, we don't want to run these players into the ground. I would like to see Eunice go on and have a swap maybe at the 60, 70-minute mark for Fatawu, because Fatawu offers a lot of pace and excitement. You can see his ceiling so high, but he's 19, but he skied a lot of opportunities high. He sometimes struggled to take his man on or tries doing too much. I think now's the time to bring Eunice in. Now, the biggest point that I forgot to mention earlier is I thought Enzo should not have swapped Keenan Dewsbury Hall and Wilfred Ndidi over last week against Millwall. I think that was the biggest mistake he made. I genuinely do, because I know he wasn't starting Fatawu, but he links up so well with Winfred Ndidi, and also Dewsbury Hall has been brilliant alongside Mavididi, and they're swapped over, and I think that kind of nullified all that team chemistry. And I know I just praised Atkin for what he did, but still, I think he shouldn't have swapped over Wilfred and Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Now, I almost went for Pratt in Ndidi's position, because I still don't think Ndidi's fully fit. I still think he's been patchy. He's been really good one game, and then I think sometimes he's been a bit off it. But you could argue that's because he got swapped. But I really want to see Pratt get some more minutes in and be rotated with Wilfred. Now, we have 4 strikers right now. I'm not going to start slandering Daka just yet, but I think we've got 4 strikers that we can all agree are pretty much out of form right now. when we have teams park the bus, I think Kelechi's your man. He's a much more physical. He's a lot better with his link-up play, in my opinion. And I would like to see Kel get a start. I think Vardy and Daka have been more than given their chance. I think Kel's only got minutes here and there. What would you say?
All right, let me go through the team with you and could discuss each player, because I get a lot of your arguments. There's some good points you put across. I don't agree with all of them, but that's football. You know what I mean? You have 11 people in here. We'd pick 11 different teams. Look, Mad's in goal, obviously, because Brad's not available. So Mad's in goal with Alfie. You have to go for the back with Ricardo going up into midfield. I'm not happy with 3 at the back. I never have been, never will be. 3 defenders, it's just not enough. You haven't got that cover there if they do break. Because we play such a high line, we have to have the option of Ricardo going back, and he's got to know that that's his responsibility. So I would have Ricardo there. Cody, 100%. I get what you're saying about his experience, and let's be honest with you, we all thought that he would be a nailed-on starter this season. Surprised he isn't. My only worry is I don't see the runs from Cody that I see from Faz. So, but that said, Vestergaard goes forward a hell of a lot, and he's not fast at getting back. So I actually will agree with you on that one. I would put Cody in there. So, yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Vestergaard, he's got to start, hasn't he? Doyle, look, he was subbed against Birmingham at half-time. I haven't been impressed with Doyle, but when we played Norwich, he was brilliant. And I'll tell you one thing that he has got, and as much as I like James Justin, and it's great that we're in this position where we've not got to pick a player like we were with Barnes just because we had no other options. You have got JJ there, but JJ came on as a winger in a couple of games ago and played very well in that position. But Doyle has got like Vestergaard, he can pick a pass out. He can swap play from one side to the other. And all right, I think there was one game, possibly Bristol, where it just wasn't happening. But most of the time he can do that. Winks, you've got to have him there, haven't you? Now the front 5. Where do I go with you with this one, Luke? Let's start with Eunice. I like Eunice. I'd love us to buy him. I think he has something. I actually saw him live at Bournemouth when we played Bournemouth in the FA Cup. And he was the one player that was running at the defence. He could not shoot his way out of a paper bag. But that didn't matter because he was making those runs and you just want it to go in off somebody's arse because the defenders daren't tackle him in case they brought him down and it was a penalty. He got that ball and because he was more central in that game, and his one thought was, I'm going to run up the defence, and if they bring me down, yes, we got a penalty. And he was shooting everywhere. It's like a target when all the shots are all around the man, but nothing's actually hit the man himself. That's what his shooting was like. You've got to, I'm sorry, but you have to start Fatawu. Yes, he's erratic, but he can turn it on. He can be a match winner. So I think you've got to start with Fatawu. If it's not working because people are putting 2 on him, then swap him over. But start with Fatawu. On the other side, Mavididi, again, look, the bad games he has for me are normally when he's got 2 defenders on him. And they do stick 2 defenders on him. And, it's going to sort of, he's going to find it hard. But yeah, again, you've got to start him. Dewsbury Hall, look, one of our second highest goal scorer, our highest assist maker. If he's not in there, then you've lost your tree. Ndidi, and here's the other reason why I'd put Fatawu back in, because when Fatawu plays with Ndidi, they seem to have an understanding. And when I first noticed this earlier in the season, Fatawu was going to be running down the right, and he just kicked the ball in front of him to nobody. It was just into space. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then suddenly from nowhere, with his long legs looking like a sprinter. In comes Ndidi and picks it up and gets a crossing. They have got that understanding. Do you know what I mean? And when he and that was why I was so surprised when he swapped Kieran Dewsbury Hall and Wilf Ndidi against Millwall. It didn't work. It didn't work on that. It's got to be those sides. Kieran on the left, Wilf on the right. And that's why he's also got that with Pratt, but I think you've got to start with Ndidi. As long as he's fit to play, you have to really, at this stage, start with your fittest players or your perceived best players. Now, young Luke, striker. Now,
don't you dare. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. I'll kick you.
Get your own back. Get your own back. Look, I know... believe it or not, I'm not actually going to say what you think I'm going to say, but I don't think Iheanacho's the man for us.
Fair play.
All our strikers, when you look at the heat maps after the game, they all drop round and they've got the biggest heat map around the centre circle because Enzo does ask them to drop back. Daka, it just seems a confidence thing with him at the moment. I'm not having this shit that he's getting off Leicester fans. Leicester fans have got to have somebody to diss on. It's what we do. And if you know, Chilwell was first choice England left back, but every Leicester fan said he was crap. Well, who knows, you know? But sorry, he couldn't be that bad if he's doing that. But we'd like to have a player that we pick on. If you remember, we would have been up Shit's Creek without a paddle before Christmas. Because Daka I think he scored 5 in 6 and got about 3 assists. So we would have been absolutely nowhere without him. And then he obviously went off to AFCON. We couldn't play Cannon because he was fit. I wasn't fit yet. We were getting ready for when he went. Kelechi was off the boil. And Jamie Vardy couldn't hit a Barnes door with his arse that time anyway. So, without Daka, we would have been up the shit. That said, he is missing it at the moment. He's probably, shouldn't be first choice. For me, I'd go with Cannon. I really would. Now, I know Enzo's come out. Though? He's not.
He's not?
No, I thought he was, but apparently he's not. But Enzo has come out and said that we've got four fit strikers. Cannon is one for the future. At the moment, I need experience. And that's why the other 3 are getting in. I get that, but you've got 3 lots of experience. And those 3 lots of experience aren't actually producing the goods at the moment. Yes, Vardy he got a tap in, but look at Vardy against Bristol. 2 sitters and 2 chances, 4 he missed. Give it to the youngster who's not bothered. He's just going to go run at the defence and have a shot. Why not give it to him and see what he can do? Put him on, and if it's not working, pull him off and stick Vardy on. So I'd start with Cannon, and I'd have Vardy on the bench ready to come on if it's not quite working. For God's sake, yes, there's a lot, and I've just contradicted myself because in a way you say you got to put your best team out, but just stick Cannon on. The other 3 aren't doing it really at the moment. Cannon did it when Cannon got that run in again because he got regular games. When Daka and Kells were off at AFCON and Vardy wasn't really, again, 100% fit and he was playing every week, I think he got about 5 as well. So give him a chance, Enzo.
I agree, mate. Cannon's had a lot of... every one of his shots that even have gone in have been bang on target. So I think he's got a keen eye for goal. He's very opportunistic. He's very physical. I like Cannon. Just going to get through some comments here, mate, before we wrap this up because they're flying in. Mark wants to let you know that he's 62 years young. The Leeds fan.
You said you're a baby. You're a baby, sir.
Okay, Tom. Tough ask for Leicester City. Leeds in to keep his runs going. Luke, how come you ended up in Leicester City? Mate, my grandparents immigrated from Glenfield in Leicester to Perth in, I believe, 1969. So I am Leicester through and through, running through my veins.
No. Can we just say, when you say emigrated, they were the last of the convicts to be shipped out to Australia. That's what it was.
I'm telling my nana when you come here, bro. Luke, you should be a Leeds fan. Luke stands for Leeds United Kings of Europe. A lot of our fans are called Luke. Nice try, mate. I can't do that, unfortunately. Problem with like this is the one Leeds fan I like. Problem with Cody is he's a scouser and his teammates can translate understand him. That's why he's not a leader. Um,
It's a good
very,
point. In fairness, it's a good point.
a good point. It's very controversial. Wants 4 defenders, but centre back bringing the ball forward. Daka starts because he tracks back. That's the only reason. Daka, a stiff fucking breeze would blow him over. He does, but he's just like, have you ever seen him track back and been successful? Or have you just seen him run around like a headless chicken?
I've seen him do. In fact, but him, Fatu and Mavididi more. In fairness, I've seen them doing some damn good defending.
I've seen definitely our wingers. I think that's a huge part of why we can afford to play. Basically, I'm still, in my opinion, I still think it's a back three. You never see Ricardo start on the right hand side of Fuss. He's always at front of him. That's why I always commit to that formation.
Yeah,
but I understand what you're saying.
Back.
He does come back, but
Yeah,
like if you look at the team, if you look at the team before a ball's kicked and how they shape up, it looks like my formation, in my opinion.
If you look on everything, it always shows it as a 4-3-3. So, but look, it is. This is the thing with formations these days, that they're flexible, and we know Ricardo is in that position. Some put him starting in midfield, some put him starting at the back. Whichever way he slips between the two.
Tomatoes. You're right, mate.
Faze's marking is not his strong point. The number of times that we see we're defending and there's a player running down the left wing. It happened with Leeds a hell of a lot. Player running down the left wing, Faze is like he's in the box. He's not looking at the guy running. And that's, if Chowdhury's on, then that guy's just got the freedom of the park. That's why you need Ricardo on to come back and cover Faze's arse.
100%, mate. I agree. And like, it's a godsend that he's back in, because can you imagine some of these games if we had Hamza still playing that role?
I like Hamza. He's like the enforcer. You're 1-0 up and you want to hold on to it, or you want to give the opposition just somebody to put the foot in and let them know that you're there. That's what Hamza does. He isn't a defender really, but let's say he's had his best ever game was defending against Liverpool. So who knows?
One game. Look, mate, I'll go through a few more of these comments and I'll get a score prediction out of you, and I'm going to shoot off. I've got 5 aside soon. Are the off-field boardroom things filtering onto the pitch? It happened with Leeds last season when players found out there was 60% pay cut if we get relegated, players down tools. I wouldn't say that in terms of pay cut, Mark, but I definitely think there's some nerves or uncertainty of who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. We have a buy clause, I believe, for Tawu if we go straight up. So that was done before there was any transfer embargo, and I believe the embargo doesn't count if we were to go up. If we don't go up, the likes of Yunus, that's why I want to see him get played more. He has a trigger clause for how many? I think it's 25 games, which I think he's about to have just triggered. So if we have an embargo and we don't go up, he's a player that we could definitely use. And then, the likes of like Winks and Keenan Dewsbury Hall and many other people that are still in contract might not want to be here in the championship for a second season running when they know that it's going to be up against us, with a possible points deduction and an embargo. So, yeah, definitely. I definitely think that plays a part. People don't just read a paper anymore. They have their phones. They're well aware of this all through the news. They'd definitely be talking about it. And that's up to Emzo just to galvanise the team. And the wins we had against Birmingham and Norwich, kind of dampen the fires for me of stress or worry, because seeing their reaction, it means something to them. The likes of Fatawu and Mavididi, these young players that have dreamed of probably playing Premier League since they were young lads, this is their chance. They might get a chance at another club, but they might not be a starting 11 player. They might be on the bench waiting for their chance forever. So to them, this is their chance to prove himself and get up there. So I definitely think there's a lot to play for, Chris.
Yes, I mean they shouldn't let it affect them. And if they are thinking that, then they should be playing for the future.
100%.
That you would want, I want to impress other managers and all that. But I think it does have an effect. I think we'd be stupid. I've worked for 2 jobs where the companies went bust, and we were kept on working, but we knew we were going to be out of a job eventually. Yeah, you only do what you have to do. But these players, despite all that going on, they've still got that carrot of the Premier League dangling in front of them.
Exactly, mate. 100%. A lot of these clubs would, not just us as well. Like, imagine Ipswich, how they feel coming up from League One to the Championship and then possibly to the Premier League. This is awesome for them, and great, good on them as well. And to wrap this up before I get a score prediction out of you, definitely think that Enzo should have been one of those managers up for the award. But at the same time, you could argue that him bottling.
The EFL got it in for us. I did a show on that.
I know. Yeah.
They it's like slapping our wrists. I mean, Leroy Senior at Hull. What the hell have Hull done? They're sat in 10th. They've only won 17. They've lost 13. Why? I mean, don't get me wrong. Even if Enzo's in there, then I still think Kieran McKenna should get it, because what he's done is amazing with the squad and the club. So Kieran 100%. McKenna should get it, but no Enzo. Oh, it smacks. God, they're as crooked as they come, the EFL, more so than the Premier League.
Yeah, 100%, man. I would agree if he was up for it. McKenna deserves it through and through. Whole manager, his take. You could argue maybe Enzo doesn't deserve it because he bottled such a massive lead, but in my opinion, he deserves at least to be in the contention.
I would love, and it sounds like Kevin Keegan now, wouldn't it? Love. They decide this in March when there's still kind of 8 games to go. Now, it's not going to happen because we've played some of those games, but I would have loved Leicester then to have gone on an unbeaten run for the rest of the season and won it by about 6-7 points. It isn't going to happen, but I would have just loved that, just to shove it down the EFL's throats.
Stick it up.
More crooked than FIFA trying to place a bet. That's what the EFL are.
100%, mate. Well, hopefully we don't have to deal with them for much longer. Chris, give us a score prediction or get you out of here.
Thanks. It's been nice coming on as well. I'm going to go with my heart because I have to at this time. I think it'll be a tough game. I've not gone for my usual 2-1, but I have gone 3-1.
3-1.
To Leicester, by the way, just in case you're wondering.
I'm going to go for something disgusting.
4-0?
I'm going to go 0-0. Are you there, Chris?
0-0. What are you? Honestly, no wonder we sent everybody over to Australia. Bloody hell. Jesus Christ, mate. 0-0. No. Go support Leeds, you bugger. Go on.
Mark's gone for 2-2. All right, mate. Last comment, and then I'll wrap this up. Fans transmit nerves and negative vibes on the players, especially for our passionate fans. You guys went quiet at the start of that game. Definitely. We can feel the stress, but we're playing away, and our away supporters have been brilliant this season. So
0-0.
I'm just I can look like a genius if that comes through. 1 point, we need it. All right, Chris, thank you so much. Everyone, please go and
on, mate. All the best. Enjoy the game. Enjoy your 5-a-side.
Thank you, mate. Guys, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. All the good stuff. Chris is an absolute legend. He helps me out so much. Thanks heaps for coming on, Chris. I will see you for post-match tomorrow. And then I got to shoot to work. So yeah, can't wait to wake up at 3 a.m.
Let's hope we put a performance on for you there.
0-0 game.
You predicted it. If it happens, it's your bloody fault. And I will not
let
you forget it.
Against, not risk, guys. Catch you later, everyone. Have a good weekend. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Have a great day too, Tom. I'll catch you on the next one.